Ever held a treasure in your hand you couldn't see, yet felt so vividly that every fiber of your being believed it was already yours? I remember lying awake one night, the darkness around me alive with possibility, as I rehearsed in my mind a victory I desperately craved. In that quiet moment, each heartbeat echoed my conviction, and by morning a subtle shift had already begun in my circumstances. In that fertile inner landscape, your imagination becomes the canvas on which reality is painted, and the clearer the picture you hold, the more power you wield to shape what unfolds before you. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you plant the seed of manifestation in the soil of your subconscious. That seed germinates not through wishful thinking, but through sustained emotional acceptance. Joy, gratitude, and certainty, woven together in a seamless tapestry of belief. Feelings are the language of creation. Just as Joseph Murphy explained, thought impresses the subconscious when accompanied by emotion. Without feeling, your desires remain like words on a page, a plan without force. Infuse each image with genuine passion, and you ignite the mechanism that draws your desire into form. Whenever a troubling memory arises, employ the art of revision. Replay the scene in your mind exactly as you wish it had occurred, imbued with positive outcome and uplifting emotion. This practice not only heals past wounds, but realigns your present trajectory toward the life you intend. Keep a disciplined mental diet by choosing only thoughts that nourish your desired state. Just as James Allen instructed, watch your thoughts and they will become your character. Watch your character and it will become your destiny. Weed out doubt, anxiety, and fear and cultivate a garden of optimism and expectancy. Persistence is the quiet engine of transformation. Doubts may surface like dark clouds on a bright day, yet returning again and again to your inner scene crystallizes it into certainty. Over time, the subconscious will no longer differentiate between imagined and experienced reality. It simply manifests what you persistently embody. Harness the power of the eve to sleep transition. As you drift into slumber, impress upon your unconscious the vivid scene of having what you desire. In that liminal space between wakefulness and dream, your subconscious mind eagerly accepts the blueprint and works tirelessly to bring it into waking life. Finally, cultivate unwavering faith in the unseen. Belief need not rest on external evidence. It thrives in the inner conviction that what you have imagined is eternally yours. When inner faith stands unshaken, the outer world must adapt, because it serves only as a reflection of your deepest states. Imagine the boundless realm within your mind, where every thought and sensation paints a living portrait more vivid than any canvas could hold. In this inner theater, you are both artist and observer, freely shaping scenes of triumph, abundance, and joy with the brushstrokes of your imagination. When you consciously direct that faculty, your power to visualize, you lay the groundwork for every change you wish to experience in your outer world. It begins with a simple yet profound decision to treat your imagination not as a place of idle daydreams, but as the very workshop of creation. As you settle into a quiet moment, allow yourself to recall a desire that stirs your heart. Perhaps it's the sense of accomplishment at a long-awaited promotion, the warmth of a loving relationship you yearn for, or the sensation of financial ease flowing effortlessly into your life. Notice how your body responds. Do you feel a tightening in your chest when you imagine that moment fully realized? Does your breathing shift as excitement or longing wells up within you? These physiological cues are the whispers of your subconscious, signaling that it is receiving instructions. By giving form to these desires in your mind's eye, you begin to communicate directly with the part of you that orchestrates reality behind the scenes. To harness this power, cultivate the practice of vivid visualization. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and construct a scene that implies completion. See yourself stepping into your future as though it is happening right now. Engage all your senses. Hear the applause of colleagues congratulating you. Taste the celebratory meal you share with loved ones. Feel the texture of the object or the fragrance of the surroundings. The more sensory detail you weave into this mental picture, the more your subconscious embraces it as truth. Imagine it again and again, each time reinforcing the neural pathways that bridge your inner world with the outer. Yet, visualization alone is not enough. It must be paired with emotional conviction. Notice the emotion that arises when you dwell in this inner scene. Is it elation, gratitude, relief? Let yourself feel those emotions deeply, as though the outcome has already manifested. This fusion of mental imagery with heartfelt feeling is the secret ingredient that propels your vision from thought into form. When you allow joy or thankfulness to swell within you, you charge the vision with a magnetic quality that draws corresponding circumstances into alignment. It is natural for doubts and distractions to surface. Fleeting thoughts of what if it doesn't happen, or I'm not sure I deserve this. When such resistance appears, gently acknowledge it without judgment and return your focus to the scene you wish to sustain. Picture it once more. Breathe into the sensation of fulfillment and let any contrary voices dissolve like ripples in water. Over time, this dedicated rehearsal rewires your inner circuitry. Your subconscious mind, longing to maintain harmony between your thoughts and your reality, will begin to adjust your external life to mirror the consistent picture you present within. Consider also the power of repetition. Just as an athlete refines muscle memory through repeated practice, you strengthen your creative capacity through habitual visualization. Set aside moments each morning or evening to revisit your inner tableau. Make it a ritual, a sacred appointment with your own potential. In those sessions, you are not an impractical dreamer, but a diligent architect of your destiny, aligning every element of your inner construct until it feels as tangible as the ground beneath your feet. The process may seem deceptively simple, yet its effects are profound. When you consistently inhabit the feeling and form of your desired outcome, you begin to resonate at a frequency that attracts matching experiences. People, opportunities, and resources start to appear in ways you might never have anticipated. Doors open, chance encounters turn into pivotal alliances, and solutions emerge to challenges that once felt insurmountable. This is the natural law at work. Like draws unto like. Importantly, this practice is not confined to grand ambitions alone. You can employ your imagination to enhance everyday moments, cultivating a sense of calm before a stressful meeting, experiencing compassion towards someone with whom you're in conflict, or even infusing your day with simple pleasures that uplift your spirit. Each time you make the choice to imagine a more resourceful state of mind, you expand your capacity to live with greater ease and intention. To integrate this into your daily life, begin by noticing the quality of your mental images throughout the day. Are they empowering or undermining? When negativity arises, anxiety about the future or regret about the past, pause and deliberately replace it with a brief vision of a preferred feeling state. Perhaps you close your eyes for a moment, envisioning yourself confident and composed. Then carry that sensation forward into your next task. These micro practices accumulate, gradually transforming your baseline mood and setting a new standard for what you accept as possible. Ultimately, by honoring your imagination as the dynamic canvas of creation, you reclaim authorship of your life story. You shift from reacting to circumstances to proactively scripting the scenes you wish to live. The more you commit to this art, the more seamlessly your inner and outer worlds merge, revealing that the only limits you ever truly faced were the ones you imagined in the first place. So, nurture this sacred faculty, paint with intention, and watch as the masterpiece of your own becoming unfolds. I once stood beneath a starlit sky, wrestling with a desire that felt just beyond my grasp. A new business venture I longed to see flourish. I closed my eyes and imagined the moment of triumph, the soft murmur of satisfied clients, the proud clasp of hands in congratulations, the quiet confidence rising within me as I surveyed what I had created. In that instant, I wasn't an uncertain dreamer. I was the very embodiment of success. That shift, moving from yearning to assured being, is the alchemy at the heart of assumption. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are not engaging in fanciful daydreams, but rather planting a directive deep within your subconscious. Your mind, in its wondrous impartiality, takes your dominant feeling as truth and aligns your thoughts, decisions, and even behaviors around that assumed reality. It begins by noticing how you speak to yourself. Do your words betray a lack of faith? I hope. Maybe one day. If only. These qualifiers signal doubt, fracturing the power of your inner command. By contrast, simple present tense declarations, I am thriving, this is mine, I celebrate this success now, anchor you in the state of having already arrived. To practice this effectively, start by selecting a statement that encapsulates your desire in its highest expression. Speak it aloud in the privacy of your own space. without hesitation or apology. Let the cadence of your voice mirror the conviction you wish to cultivate. Notice how certain phrases resonate with more force. Perhaps "I am" carries a weight that "I will be" cannot match. Observe the sensations that accompany each declaration: a lightness in the chest, a steady warmth in the belly, a spark behind your eyes. These bodily signals are the faithful messengers of your subconscious, confirming that your command has been received and embraced. Next, reinforce this inner command through subtle acts of alignment. If you assume financial abundance, for instance, allow your gestures and decisions to reflect that wealth. You need not spend recklessly, but you might choose to pay yourself first, setting aside a small portion of income as a tangible symbol of your belief in prosperity. You might organize your workspace or home environment in ways that honor your assumed status: a neat desk for a thriving professional, a seedling on the windowsill for a growing enterprise. Each of these seemingly minor actions communicates to your mind and to the world that you are already inhabiting the reality you desire. Resistance often arises in the form of intrusive doubts, ghost thoughts whispering that the goal is too grand or that past failures define your capacity. When these intruders appear, greet them with compassion rather than scorn. Recognize them as echoes of old programming, echoes that have no power once you refuse to amplify them. Instead, return to your assumed state with gentle determination. Picture yourself in a moment of triumph, smiling at the result of your imagined effort, and let that scene replay until the doubts diminish like shadows at dawn. It is also helpful to anchor your assumption in lived evidence, however small. Recall a past victory, a time you overcame odds, learned a new skill, or turned a setback into an opportunity. Feel the pride, relief, and joy you experienced in that moment. By connecting the new assumption to a tangible success you've already known, you grant your subconscious permission to trust that similar outcomes are possible. Your mind does not discriminate between past and future in the same way you do. It simply recognizes emotional truth. Let that truth be your guiding star. Consistency is the linchpin of this practice. Just as muscles tone through regular exercise, your capacity to assume grows stronger each time you willingly embody the feeling of your fulfilled desire. Carve out moments throughout your day, during a commute, while waiting for a kettle to boil, before drifting into sleep, to affirm your chosen state. Even brief mental affirmations can recalibrate your inner atmosphere, shifting you away from reactive worry toward proactive creation. Over time, you will notice a curious synchronization. Ideas and opportunities that resonate with your assumption begin to appear, as though the universe itself conspires to present the very evidence you need. Remember, however, that assumption is not a call to passivity. It does not excuse you from taking inspired action when opportunities arise. Instead, it refines your perception so that you recognize the steps aligning you with your goal. When you operate from the assumed state, confident, purposeful, and clear, you speak and move with a magnetic authority that draws people and circumstances to your cause. Your actions become less about striving and more about responding, guided by an inner compass set to the destination you've already claimed. Ultimately, the art of assumption invites you to step into a new identity before the world presents you with proof. It is the conscious choice to live as though your heart's desire is already your inheritance. In that choice lies the transformative power to rewire your beliefs, reshape your behaviors, and realign the tapestry of your life. As you deepen this practice, you discover that the only true boundary to what you can assume is the limit of your imagination, and that, thankfully, is boundless. I invite you to notice how feeling underlies every act of creation. Without it, the mind's visions remain inert as sketches on a blank page. When you infuse your imagined scene with genuine emotion, you animate it, giving life to what was once a mere thought. Imagine, for instance, that you've longed for recognition in your career. You don't just picture the promotion, you let your heart swell with the pride it will bring. You sense the warmth of congratulations from colleagues, the subtle tremor of excitement in your voice as you accept the new role. That visceral rush is not an embellishment. It is the very power that attracts the circumstances to match. In the words of Joseph Murphy, thought impressed with feeling impresses the subconscious mind, and the subconscious acts upon that impression without hesitation. It doesn't pass logic or tally probabilities. It simply moves to harmonize your external world with a feeling you've conveyed. When you allow authentic joy or gratitude to saturate your visualization, you create a magnetic force that pulls the corresponding reality toward you. Conversely, a detached or lukewarm visualization lacks the emotional charge necessary to spark change. It remains good intention without traction, like a car engine lit but never shifted into drive. To master this art, begin by tuning into the subtle currents of your own body. As you imagine your desired outcome, observe where tension or openness arises. Does excitement make your chest feel buoyant, as though it could lift you off the ground? Does gratitude draw a gentle warmth through your core, as though someone is cradling your heart in their hands? These bodily sensations are vital signposts indicating the depth of your emotional engagement. The more you welcome and deepen these sensations, the stronger your subconscious signal becomes. Once you've identified the emotional tone that accompanies your vision, practice amplifying it deliberately. You might recall a cherished memory, perhaps the first time you held your newborn child, or the exhilaration of a personal victory, and allow that emotion to flood into your present imagining. By weaving the threads of past joy into future possibility, you create an emotional tapestry so vivid that your subconscious no longer questions its authenticity. Over repeated sessions, the boundary between memory and projection blurs. Your mind learns to treat the imagined scene with the same reverence as a lived experience. It helps to articulate your feelings aloud in the present tense, as though you're reporting from the frontier of realization. I feel the ease of abundance flowing through me, you might say, your tone rich with warmth. I taste the sweetness of success with every breath I take. Speaking in this way does more than reinforce the emotion. It also engages your auditory sense, adding another layer of sensory immersion. Research shows that multisensory engagement, sight, sound, touch, even smell, multiplies the potency of mental rehearsal. When you hear your own voice affirming the fulfilled desire, your conviction deepens, and the subconscious receives a symphony of cues to act upon. Of course, you may encounter resistance, nagging doubts that stir a hollow ache in your chest, or a cold whisper of fear at the edges of your mind. When that happens, don't push it away with force. Instead, welcome the uncomfortable feeling as a signal that an old belief is surfacing. Say to yourself silently or aloud, I see you, doubt, and I know you are a relic of past conditioning. Then gently shift your attention back to the emotional warmth of your envisioned outcome. With each redirection, you reinforce the neural pathways of your new empowered state, and the old fearful pathways begin to lose their grip. Persistence in this emotional practice is the key to rewiring your subconscious patterns. Just as Ernest Holmes taught that what you think and what you feel you will invariably bring about, you carry the responsibility and the privilege of becoming the deliberate creators of your own lives. Schedule brief yet potent sessions throughout your day. While waiting for a kettle to boil, close your eyes and feel the satisfaction of your completed goal. In the quiet moments before sleep, bathe your mind in the gratitude you would feel upon achieving your desire. These micro practices accumulate, forging a steady current of positive emotion that carries you toward your objective. Finally, honor the emotional quality of rest. As you drift towards sleep, cradle your imagined scene in the tenderness of prayer or meditation. Allow the last sensation you hold before slumber to be the joy, contentment, or gratitude of your fulfilled desire. In that liminal state, your subconscious mind becomes especially receptive, weaving the seeds you've planted into the soil of your waking reality. Upon awakening, notice any shifts, a fresh idea, an unexpected resource, an intuitive nudge, and act on them promptly. Each small step confirms to your subconscious that you are serious in feeling your dream into existence. By mastering the fusion of feeling with visualization, you transform imagination from a passive pastime into an active instrument of creation. You learn to navigate the delicate interplay between thought and emotion, recognizing that when both vibrate in harmony, they generate the energy required to manifest your deepest longings. Embrace this power with a compassionate heart, and you will discover that feeling is indeed the secret. The hidden flame that, once kindled, never ceases to illuminate the path from desire to reality. I once found myself replaying an old conversation in my mind, one where I had failed to speak up for an opportunity I desperately wanted. As I sat by the window, the evening light fading into dusk, a thought occurred. What if I could rewrite that moment to reflect my highest potential? I closed my eyes and envisioned the scene anew. My voice steady and confident, my ideas met with genuine interest, my heart buoyed by a sense of self-assurance. I hadn't yet embodied in reality. In that act of mental revision, I discovered a transformative practice. By reimagining past events exactly as I wished they had occurred, I could reshape my present experience and align my future with my deepest aspiration. Every memory carries an emotional imprint, a residue of belief that was formed at the moment it first registered in your consciousness. If that belief was one of failure, rejection, or regret, it lingers in your subconscious, influencing your behavior long after the event itself has passed. But the subconscious does not distinguish between events you lived and scenes you vividly imagine. It simply responds to the strongest impressions you feed it. When you deliberately revise a memory with a more empowering outcome and infuse it with positive feeling, you send a new directive to the part of your mind that governs your habits, choices, and emotional baseline. To begin this practice, select a memory that still triggers discomfort, a moment where you felt limited, ashamed, or discouraged. Bring that scene into your mind, not as an observer detached from the emotion, but as a participant fully immersed in the original feelings. Notice the sights, the sounds, and particularly the inner dialogue you held at that time. Then gently let the old version dissolve and reconstruct the memory exactly as you wish it had unfolded. See yourself acting from confidence rather than fear. Hear your own voice expressing clarity instead of hesitation, and feel the lift of pride and peace that would have naturally followed a more resourceful response. As you hold this revised scene, deepen the emotional tone, breathe in the relief of having handled the situation with wisdom. Taste the sweetness of self-respect restored and sense the warmth of connection or achievement that you might have experienced. The more sensory detail and genuine feeling you weave into the new recollection, the stronger the impression becomes on your subconscious. Over time, you will notice that the old limiting memory loses its power. The anxiety that once stirred at its mention fades, and your reactions in similar present-day circumstances begin to reflect the confidence you practiced in your imagination. This process is not a denial of the past, but a compassionate rewriting of its narrative. By acknowledging the original memory, you honor your human experience, its mistakes, its lessons, and its growth. Then by revising it, you extend grace to yourself, demonstrating that you are no longer bound by outcomes formed under different beliefs. You reclaim your right to reinterpret your story in service of your evolving identity. In practical terms, set aside a few minutes each day, perhaps at sunrise or in the quiet moments before sleep, to engage in revision. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes and breathe deeply until you feel present. Introduce the memory, allow it to surface, and then gently shift it into its new form. Repeat this mental movie several times, cementing the new version in your mind's theater. You may find it helpful to add a short phrase at the end, an affirmation that encapsulates the shift. For example, after revising a conversation where you once felt unheard, you might end with, "I spoke clearly, and my ideas were welcomed with respect." Speak these words with feeling, allowing them to reverberate through your entire being. You commit to this practice, be patient and kind to yourself. Some memories will yield quickly to revision. Others, particularly those tied to deeply held beliefs, may resist at first. When old emotions surface, doubt, fear, or even guilt, greet them with gentle acknowledgement. I see you, and I honor where you came from. Then return your attention to the revised scene. With each repetition, the new impression grows stronger, and you will begin to notice subtle shifts in your day-to-day life. Situations that once triggered old patterns may now pass with equanimity, or you may find yourself responding from a place of calm confidence rather than reactivity. The beauty of revision is that it not only heals past wounds, but actively aligns your inner world with the reality you intend to create. By transforming your internal script, you loosen the subconscious anchors that once held you back. You open space for fresh opportunities, innovative ideas, and relationships that resonate with your truest self. This mental alchemy is a potent counterpart to visualization and assumption. It ensures that your past does not cast a shadow over the present, but instead becomes a source of renewed strength and clarity. Remember that the mind learns through patterns. When you consistently revise memories with positive outcomes, you teach your subconscious to expect and support resourceful states. Unexpected synchronicities may then occur. You might receive an apology you longed for, discover new ways to address similar challenges, or simply feel more at ease in situations that previously stirred tension. These external changes reflect the invisible rewrite you initiated within. To deepen the impact, share your experience emotionally and conceptually with a trusted friend or in a journal. Articulating your transformation consolidates the new beliefs and invites you to celebrate each milestone. Over time, you may even develop a personal toolkit, a series of key memories you return to when you need a boost of confidence, each already revised and imbued with the empowering feeling you intend to carry forward. In the end, the art of revision reveals a profound truth. The stories we tell ourselves about who we were need not define who we are becoming. By choosing to revisit and reshape our past with compassion and creativity, we pave the way for a present and a future anchored in confidence, clarity, and possibility. As you embrace this practice, you reclaim the author's pen to your own life story, ensuring that every chapter feeds the narrative of your growth and highest potential. Imagine beginning each day with the same care you would give to selecting the food that nourishes your body, only this time you are choosing the thoughts that feed your mind and spirit. In the quiet moments before your morning coffee or during the brief pause before stepping out the door, you have a choice to mindlessly consume the headlines of worry, comparison, or doubt, or to purposefully digest ideas that uphold your sense of worth, possibility, and joy. This conscious curation of inner dialogue is your mental diet. And just as a healthy meal plan supports physical vitality, a disciplined selection of thoughts fosters the vibrancy of your reality. Consider how a single negative headline can linger in your psyche, coloring your perceptions and foreshadowing tension in your interactions. Now contrast that with the gentle uplift that comes from reading or recalling a story of triumph, kindness, or innovation, how your posture straightens, your breathing deepens, and a spark of optimism ignites in your chest. These shifts are not incidental. They are the direct result of the information you feed your mind. By choosing to focus on empowering narratives, stories of resilience, images of success, affirmations of abundance, you shape your baseline state of being. Over time, this disciplined diet replaces the habitual cravings for fear or lack with a steady appetite for hope, creativity, and confidence. To practice this effectively, start by noticing your automatic mental habits. Perhaps on your commute, you reach for your phone and scroll through social media, absorbing a stream of content you didn't consciously select. Each headline, each comment, each vivid image deposits its nutrients or toxins into your subconscious. Instead, try substituting a brief moment of intentional reflection. Recall a personal victory, meditate on a phrase that resonates with your vision, or simply breathe deeply while visualizing a scene of fulfillment. Even 30 seconds of mindful redirection can interrupt the cycle of unconscious consumption and plant a seed of positivity that grows throughout your day. Ask yourself, what would I choose to let into my mind if I were deliberately shaping the world I wish to live in? From that question flows a newfound agency. You might curate a playlist of uplifting music rather than enduring a random shuffle of anxious lyrics. You may subscribe to newsletters that share innovations in your field, rather than clickbait that amplifies negativity. Conversations offer another opportunity. You can steer dialogue away from gossip and toward topics of gratitude, growth, and possibility. Each choice reinforces the understanding that your mind is a precious space worth guarding, worth nourishing, and worth celebrating. Resistance to a disciplined mental diet can arise in the form of guilt or self-criticism. I'm not strong enough to avoid the negativity, or I'll miss out if I disengage. When these thoughts emerge, greet them with kindness. Recognize that change is a gradual process, and that each step toward intentional thinking is a victory in itself. You need not sever all ties with challenging news or emotional drama, but you can limit exposure and follow it with a deliberate replenishment of positive content. After reading a difficult report, pause and consciously recall 3 things that inspire you. Perhaps a personal achievement, a moment of beauty you witnessed, or a supportive word someone offered you. This simple act rebalances your inner chemistry and reminds you that you hold the power to choose what resonates with you. As you deepen this practice, you will begin to notice patterns in your mental consumption. Certain topics or voices might breed unease, while others kindle excitement. Use this awareness to refine your selections. Lean into sources that encourage learning, growth, and empathy, and politely set aside those that habitually trigger stress or doubt. In essence, you are becoming the editor of your own consciousness, curating a continual flow of thought that aligns with your aspirations. With each deliberate choice, you broadcast to your subconscious mind a clear directive. This is the nutrient I choose. This is the reality I wish to live. Ultimately, a disciplined mental diet is not a denial of life's challenges, but a framework for meeting them with equanimity. When you habitually nourish your mind with hope, resourcefulness, and gratitude, your inner reservoir of resilience deepens. You no longer collapse under the weight of every setback. Instead, you draw upon a wellspring of positive thought that propels you forward. By tending to your mental menu with the same care you might lavish on a gourmet meal, you discover that the world you experience each day is shaped not only by external events, but by the quality of the ideas you choose to ingest. And in that choice resides your power to live with intention, grace, and unwavering belief in the life you are creating. I once set out to learn a new language, eager to converse fluently with friends I'd met abroad. In the beginning, every verb felt foreign, every sentence a towering mountain of confusion. Yet, each morning before dawn, I returned to my textbook. Each evening, I replayed the same phrases in my mind until sleep overtook me. At times, progress seemed invisible. My tongue stumbled, the words refused to stick. But in those very moments of stubborn repetition, I was forging the strongest bridges between desire and reality. That steady return to practice, day after day, is the heartbeat of transformation. True persistence is not a frantic sprint, but a calm commitment to consistency. Just as water wears away stone, not by force, but by patient dripping, your steady attention to an inner scene or feeling will erode the barriers that separate you from your goal. When you sit in quiet reflection and breathe into the vision you have chosen, your subconscious begins to register, this is important, I will memorize it. And it does, slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, but with growing fidelity to the image and emotion you present. It helps to anchor your practice in small, manageable moments. You need not carve out hours at a stretch. Instead, weave brief sessions of inner rehearsal into your daily life. While waiting for your tea to steep, close your eyes and feel the sense of completion you long for. During a short break at work, replay the scene of success with as much sensory detail as you can muster. These micro-investments accumulate, layering neural pathways until the once elusive vision becomes the familiar backdrop of your day. Doubt is an ever-present companion on the path of persistence. You may question whether the effort is worth it or fear that you've missed a window of opportunity. When such thoughts drift in, greet them with gentle curiosity rather than resistance. Acknowledge their presence, and then softly bring your awareness back to your chosen state. Whether it is the warmth of achievement, the glow of gratitude, or the ease of abundance. Each time you do so, you strengthen the muscle of consistency and teach your subconscious to favor forward momentum over wavering. Over time, persistence reveals its own rewards. You begin to notice subtle shifts, a chance conversation that aligns with your vision, a fresh idea that springs to mind at the right moment, or an unexpected resource that appears just when you need it. These are signposts from your inner efforts, confirming that your private ritual of repetition is weaving its threads into the fabric of your external life. The key is to celebrate these small victories, each one a testament to your unwavering focus. Ultimately, persistence is the gentle engine that propels your dreams across the threshold from thought to form. It asks you not for perfection, but for faithfulness, the willingness to return again and again to the inner scene of your fulfilled desire. As you cultivate this habit, and in that transformation, you discover that the power to create the life you imagine resides not in a single spectacular effort, but in the humble persistence of your own faithful return. I remember the night I first discovered the subtle gateway between waking and dreaming. It was late and my mind felt heavy with hopes I didn't yet believe possible. As I lay still, eyelids fluttering at the edge of sleep, a gentle question stirred within me. What if I could carry the vivid scene of my deepest longing right into that threshold where dreams are born? In that hushed moment, I felt the promise of transformation. That liminal space where consciousness drifts into slumber is a secret laboratory for creation. In those final minutes of wakefulness, your mind hovers in a receptive state, more open than at any other time to suggestions and impressions. It is here, in the delicate balance between awareness and release, that you plant the seed of your desire most effectively. Rather than surrendering to random thoughts or anxieties, you can tenderly guide your closing mind toward the precise image you wish to inhabit. Begin by choosing a single clear scene that implies your desire fulfilled. It might be the moment you sign the papers on your dream home, the embrace of someone you adore, or the unmistakable glow of pride as you accomplish a goal long in your heart. Keep it simple, a snapshot rather than an entire movie, so that it remains vivid without overtaxing your drift towards sleep. As you settle under the covers, allow your body to relax completely. Feel the weight of the day slip from your shoulders, and breathe gently in a rhythm that soothes your nervous system. With each exhale, let go of tension. With each inhale, draw in the sensation of what you wish to experience. Then, very softly, evoke your chosen scene. Picture it as though you are perched at the helm of a small boat in calm waters, steering your attention with a light touch. Engage as many senses as you can: the texture of a handshake, the temperature of a gentle breeze, the murmur of voices celebrating, the taste of something sweet on your tongue. Yet keep the focus narrow, allowing the fullness of that one moment to fill your awareness without distraction. As you feel drowsiness settle in, continue to hold the image with a gentle tenderness. If your thoughts wander to tomorrow's errand, yesterday's regrets, or passing worries, invite them to drift away like clouds. Return your attention to the scene of your fulfilled desire, as one might return to a favorite melody at the first note. Notice how the boundary between the visualization and the onset of sleep begins to blur. The images may grow more fluid, colors softer, and a serene warmth may rise from your chest. Welcome these sensations as signs that your subconscious is receiving the message. It can help to speak a brief, heart-centered phrase as you sink toward dreaming, a whisper of, "This is already mine," or "I rest in its truth," can anchor your intent in the quietest recesses of your mind. The words need not be loud or elaborate, just enough to carry the emotional tone into the threshold of sleep. In that space, your subconscious mind, which does not distinguish between what you quietly believe and what you have already experienced, begins to weave the blueprint of your desire into the fabric of your inner reality. Over successive nights, this practice deepens. You'll find that those final moments of consciousness become more intentional, more enriched by the texture of what you wish to live. The more consistently you repeat the ritual, perhaps 5 to 10 minutes each evening, the more natural it feels to drift into sleep through the portal of your chosen vision. And as that vision takes root in the fertile soil of your subconscious, you may wake with fresh insights, inspired ideas, or a renewed sense of calm that confirms the invisible work happening overnight. You might notice, too, that your actions in waking life subtly shift. Tasks begin to unfold with less friction, as if guided by an unseen hand. You may encounter people or opportunities that resonate harmoniously with your nightly rehearsals. These synchronicities are not flukes, but echoes of the inner alignment you cultivated as you surrendered to sleep. Your subconscious mind, having embraced the feeling of your desire as truth, aligns outer circumstances to match the inner state you rehearsed so lovingly. Of course, occasional nights will bring restlessness or distraction. When that happens, extend yourself compassion rather than frustration. Acknowledge that the mind sometimes clings to old patterns, juggling worries before finally letting go. Gently steer yourself back to the simple scene, breathe into its essence, and trust that even a fragment of that vision impressed on your subconscious can set the stage for change. Over time, those fragments accumulate into a tapestry of transformation. One night's seed growing into tomorrow's reality. Ultimately, the eve to sleep transition is not merely a moment to be endured, but a sacred portal to be honored. By consciously guiding your final thoughts, you harness the mind's natural receptivity at its most pliable. You learn to collaborate with your own inner processes, rather than fighting against the currents of worry or random mental chatter. In doing so, you transform the act of falling asleep into an empowering ritual, one that melds the boundary between dream and reality, inviting your deepest desires to blossom from the unseen into the seen. I once found myself at a crossroads, staring at a decision so pivotal that every logical fiber in my mind argued against it. Yet somewhere deep inside, a quiet voice urged me to lean into the unknown, an invitation to trust what could not yet be proven. In that moment, I realized that the true alchemy of creation lies not in facts or visible evidence, but in the unwavering conviction that what is unseen already exists. When you cultivate this inner faith, you learn to navigate life's uncertainties with a serene confidence, trusting that your imagination and feeling have already set the wheels of manifestation in motion. Belief in its purest form is a state of mind unshaken by the fluctuations of external circumstances. It does not demand immediate proof or guarantees. Instead, it rests upon the certainty of your own inner knowing. To foster this faith, begin by recalling a time when you trusted an instinct, perhaps a quiet hunch about a person or a project, and watched it unfold exactly as you sensed it would. Notice how that trust felt. The calm resolve in your chest, the absence of nagging questions, the sense of alignment between your heart and your reason. By anchoring your present focus in the memory of that inner certainty, you remind yourself that you have accessed this power before, and you can access it again. As you cultivate this unshakable belief, practice speaking to yourself in affirmative, present tense language that reflects your desired reality as though it is already here. Feel the weight of each word. I live in abundance. I move through life guided by clarity. I embody the confidence I wish to express. Let these declarations become more than mere statements. Let them be the emotional essence that infuses your entire being. When your spoken words, your felt emotions, and your vivid mental images all align, they form a triumphant chorus that echoes through your subconscious, bypassing doubt and commanding reality itself to respond. I learned early on that faith does not negate effort. Rather, it transforms effort into inspired action. When you believe in the unseen, you begin to notice opportunities you might otherwise overlook. An offhand remark that sparks a new idea, a chance encounter that opens a door you didn't know existed. These invitations are the universe's way of meeting you halfway, confirming your inner conviction without assigns. To heighten your receptivity, cultivate a habit of quiet reflection each day, perhaps during a morning walk or a brief pause between tasks, where you invite your mind to settle into the feeling of certainty. In that stillness, you become attuned to subtle nudges and intuitive insights that guide your next steps. Resistance to unwavering faith often arises as a dialogue between skepticism and possibility. When the skeptic within you poses questions, what if this doesn't work out, or am I fooling myself? Acknowledge the concern with compassion, then gently redirect your attention to the feeling of assurance. You might imagine placing the skeptic on a bench to rest, while you, the faithful observer, continue your inner rehearsal. Over time, the skeptic's voice grows quieter as the evidence of your unfolding belief accumulates, both inwardly and outwardly. You learn that faith and reason need not be adversaries, but can coexist in a dynamic partnership, balancing each other as you move forward. To deepen your faith in the unseen, it helps to weave it into tangible rituals that reinforce your conviction. You might keep a journal dedicated to recording small faith wins, instances where you acted on inner knowing and saw the outcome align with your vision. Even seemingly minor confirmations, a serendipitous meeting, a sudden influx of creative energy, a moment of perfect timing, serve as potent reminders that the unseen is actively shaping the scene. Revisiting these entries on days of doubt infuses your belief with fresh vigor, reminding you that the law of your inner world operates beyond the confines of apparent reality. As your faith deepens, you'll notice a subtle shift in how you carry yourself. Your posture may become more open, your voice more steady, and your interactions more grounded in presence rather than anxiety. Others respond to this steady energy, often unconsciously mirroring your assurance and offering support when opportunities arise. In this way, unwavering faith becomes a magnetic force, drawing people, resources, and circumstances into harmonious alignment with your vision. You become the calm center in a sea of possibilities, navigating the tides of chance with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are already supported. Ultimately, to live by faith in the unseen is to embrace the profound truth that creation always precedes manifestation. The blueprint exists first in the mind, then in emotion, and finally in form. By nurturing your inner conviction through remembered victories, affirmative declarations, attentive rituals, and compassionate self-disargument, you open the floodgates for your deepest desires to flow into your life. And when you stand firm in that belief, you discover a remarkable freedom. The freedom to chart your course, to steer by inner stars, and to recognize that the only real limits are those you choose to accept. And so, as you journey inward to cultivate the art of creation, remember that your imagination is both compass and canvas, guiding you toward the life you intend. By assuming the feeling of your fulfilled desire, you send a clear signal to your deeper mind. And by infusing that vision with genuine emotion, you ignite its magnetic power. Whenever old memories or doubts arise, tenderly revise them to reflect your highest potential. Then renew your mental diet with thoughts and stories that uplift and expand. Persist with kind devotion. Each brief rehearsal, each gentle return to your inner scene accumulates until hesitation gives way to unwavering conviction. As evening falls, let the final images you hold before sleep be those of triumph and gratitude, trusting your subconscious to weave them into the fabric of your waking life. Above all, cultivate the quiet faith that what you imagine and feel is already in motion behind the scenes of circumstance. In this harmony of thought, feeling, and belief lies the secret of transformation. The outer world must eventually mirror the reality you faithfully uphold within.